Welcome to the Playbook, where every move matters, every story inspires, and every moment says, I choose sport. When we talk about sports, we often think about the wins, the losses, and the highlights, right? But what about the doors that sports can open? For many young athletes in Trinidad and Tobago, it's a ticket to education, personal growth, and opportunities beyond our shores. Today, we're diving deep into sports scholarships, what's available, how to qualify, and what it takes to transition from the local scene to an international playing field. My name is Fingal, and let's get into the playbook. The Playbook has an amazing lineup today with two guests that know all about leaving it all on the court. First up, we have a man who knows all about developing talent, coaching future stars, and guiding young athletes towards success, and also a former scholarship recipient himself, Mr. Kern George. Sitting beside him, we have a player who's lived the dream of many student athletes, from playing in Trinidad and Tobago to earning a scholarship in the US and competing at the NCAA Division I level. He's also represented TNT on the international stage. Moriba de Freitas, welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
How you doing? Everything cool?
Yeah, man.
So let's start with the basics, coach. When young athletes and parents hear about scholarships, often they think that it's the best player or the most skillful player, but I know a lot of other factors go into attaining these scholarships. Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
I mean, the first thing that coaches always look for is good character. Secondly, your academics. All right, that's the first thing they want to see. Then they will look a little bit into how good are you, but first thing is your character, what kind of person you are on the court, on the field, off the field, and then they dig deep into your academics.
So how would those recruiters per se find this information, especially if you're located in Trinidad and they are in Kentucky or in the States or something?
It's all in your transcript. Everything is in your transcript, and it's a phone call away, it's an email away. They will contact your school, and school to school, they send all the relevant documents to each other, all right? And if that is bad, in a bad state.
In a bad state.
So Moriba, you have been through this process in terms of being a player student in Trinidad and getting recruited.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about your journey?
All right, so my journey wasn't really the typical original story that you would hear on the platforms. Mine was one of a dark, troubled path where I started early in a lot of fights, a lot of gambling in schools, a lot of things that you shouldn't be really doing in school, right? And funny story, me and coach was in the back because we was talking about how we actually started our coaching careers and our playing careers and whatnot. And I was talking about there was an opportunity, there was a day I was actually about to get a 5-day suspension.
Right.
Right, and the coach at that point at the school came into the school, and he watched me be in my physical features, watched me, didn't say a word, went straight into the principal office, because at that point in time, the principal was really inside writing up my suspension. It was done sealed, and he came out, the principal came out, and the coach at that time was there in front of me, and 2 words, the principal was like, all right, we're gonna make this short and real sweet. 5-day suspension, or they start to play basketball. And the deal was you had to play at least 2 games and go practice until the 2 games. So that's how I actually started basketball, right? As coach rightfully said, they look at character first. And at that point in time in my life, one could argue and say, yeah, my character would have been detrimental to any program. But it took a wise man to take a chance on me and Coach Hunter Berg from Williston State. And it was the best decision he made, and it was the best decision I made, because in doing that, we broke records, we won championships, and we talked earlier about creating that legacy for oneself, our family, the country, and the school we had.
And you eventually get your degree.
And I eventually get my degree, which was most important. At that school, I got my AA in computer science, because I went to a junior college, that is 2-year program.
Right.
And at that point in time, I think for a long while, everybody saying they get a scholarship to go to the States and play, but in getting a scholarship is always levels, right? Everybody believes always levels. And D1 is the highest level you could play in American sports, right?
Definitely.
And coming from Trinidad, really we get athletes that reach on the Division 1 level. I was one of those now, right?
Yeah.
Now, well, Moriba, big up you. That is definitely an amazing journey. And of course, we have to big up Coach Hunter.
Hunter Berg for sure. Yeah, because he's one still pulling players. And funny story, a kid which is Freedom Leon came through the program, came through playing as a young basketball player. He's actually there right now. The coach there told him the only reason he's there because I did what I did when I was there.
Yeah, so you paved the way for some of the youths coming back.
Yeah,
coming
and
after.
funny enough, coach randomly on a random day when I was minding my own business, he just sent a picture of my picture on the school wall, hang up on the school wall.
Yeah.
So
Still up there.
It's still up there,
School
and that's
legend.
10 years,
School
10
legend,
plus
they
years
call
ago.
him,
So yeah.
Now, man, I love to hear that. So as you're talking about some of the mistakes you may have made, going through that process now, could you tell me some of the other key mistakes that other students may make in the process of trying to attain scholarships to head out?
I believe not some, but all of the mistakes made in the student-athlete realm is the work ethic, the mindset, and the willingness to work. At a conversation, we said in the islands, in the Caribbean, we just want to play the sport. Whatever sport it is, if it's tennis, cricket, we just want to play the sport. But everywhere outside the region, they live in it, eating it, sleeping it, doing the most. The sport is their life now. So how could we in the Caribbean compete for that if we're not showing that same dedication?
For sure. Coach, I know you help a lot of students get to that next level. What are some of the mistakes you may have seen them make?
Wrong crowd. Ending up on the stage, getting the opportunity, not being disciplined enough. I know some athletes who would have missed early morning practice, 5
Early
a.m.
mornings,
practice,
rough.
5 a.m.
Rough,
practice, and
rough.
I mean they got one bly, two blies, and the third one you were back home. You know, I would have seen mistakes with keeping your GPA low. You're supposed to maintain at least a 2.5. Some schools say 2.0.
My school was 3.0.
Some say 3.0.
Yeah.
And from the time you drop below your GPA,
Student-athlete.
you're gone.
No, but as a coach and in these senior positions, sometimes you would see these immensely talented youths going on the wayside. That has to hurt, boy.
It does. And I would have seen a lot of athletes fall on the wayside. And plenty of it is because of indiscipline, you know, and consistency to stay on the right path. And everybody wants scholarship, but a lot of people don't want to put in the work
Yeah.
and the discipline that comes with scholarship.
For sure. I'm really liking the insights that we are getting for the students at home that may be looking to apply for these scholarships, whether academic or sporting as well. I think this is some great information for them to look into. So we are here with Kern and Moriba, and we have a lot more coming up right here on the Playbook. Keep it locked, and we'll be right back after this.
To produce elite athletes, one must take a comprehensive approach. We must take into consideration early talent identification, focusing on athletes at a young age, finding out what is their specialties, finding a coach to specialize from young within a particular sport, going heavy on the mental aspect of it, the mental conditioning, going heavy on proper nutrition. I will encourage any athlete to focus on their fundamental motor skills, speed, agility, balance from young, to foster your athletic journey.
Welcome back to the Playbook, and today we are talking about scholarships and sports. And who better to give us the play-by-play than our two guests who have experience both on and off the court. But first, we like to apply a little bit of pressure to our guests. So before we continue the discussions, we are going to play a quick rapid-fire game called Ball Out. So gentlemen, this ball out game here is very simple. I'm going to ask you all a series of scenarios and questions, and you all ball out the first thing that comes to mind, and this will allow us to understand your thought process in this regime a little better. All right?
All right,
So
no
we
problem.
ready?
Yep.
All right. You're balling out the first thing that comes to mind. The first one is greatest athlete of all time.
Kobe.
Michael Jordan.
All right, Kobe, Michael Jordan. Why Michael Jordan?
You went to the finals 6 times and you won 6 times. Nobody could be that.
All right. All right. I have something to say, but I will leave it. And why would you say Kobe?
Mamba mentality.
It's
That's
a
it.
strong
It's a
mindset.
strong mindset.
Win by any means necessary.
Any means necessary. As
All right.
simple as that.
I hear that. I hear that.
Who did
I hear
Kobe?
that.
Murrah?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I will say LeBron James.
Hey.
But we'll continue to the next one.
Yeah,
We'll continue to the
moving
next
right
one.
along, moving right
along. Most iconic sports moment of all time.
The header from Lawrence in Bahrain.
Dennis Lawrence header
Yes.
to send me to the World Cup
Yes, sir.
2006. All right, I've taken that.
LeBron chased down block.
You see, he's a LeBron fan, you know. He's a LeBron fan, all that Jordan talk, but he calling LeBron for the most iconic moment. I taken that one too. All right, next question. Most entertaining athlete to watch.
Steph Curry.
Kyle Monfils.
Steph Curry, I know about Steph Curry. Steph Curry, shooting wizardry as a point guard. That's what you appreciate.
People pay plenty money to go watch that guy play.
Fair.
Whether it be as a fan of Golden State or even a fan of basketball.
The game.
Yeah, you pay money to go watch Steph Curry. When you hear the word entertainment, you talk about Stephen Curry.
I'll take that. And you selected?
Kyle Monfils.
Who's that? Tell us about that
I'm
player.
a young upcoming tennis player who he don't just play, he entertain. So when you, like we say, the cost of $20 to go in, he make sure you as a fan, you get $20 worth. So you're getting trick shots, you're getting acrobatic shots, you're getting sprinting from side to side. It's just the dynamic in his style of play is just something to see.
And that's not something that tennis is usually
Exactly.
known for.
He
So
had
yeah.
that extra flair to
I
tennis,
extra
for sure.
flair to tennis. Yeah.
I need to go and check out this Mr. Monfield's
Yeah, you
player.
should, you should.
All right, that's the entertaining athlete. If you could steal one athlete's skill set, who would it
Stephen
be?
Curry shooting ability.
All right, he ain't playing with the questions at all. Which athlete you will take their skill set?
Like Shaq
Shaq.
O'Neal. for
Why?
dominance.
Dominance.
Yeah, he's the one that changed the game. Everybody talk about how Jordan changed the game, how Steph changed the game. But in reality, the rules changed for Shaq, you know.
Yeah, when you bring it down them backboard and
He have a broken rim 3 home, you know. So all the rims he ever broke in his basketball career, he kind of welded it together and make like a 17-foot 3 or something like that.
You're sounding like a long-time Lakers fan, eh?
Nah, I just like the greats of the game now.
All
As
right,
simple as that.
all right. So yeah, so Kobe, Shaq, LeBron
yeah,
James, and the greats now.
Yeah, yeah,
Aaron
yeah.
Fingal, just all the greats,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm taking that. All right, so gentlemen, that was the rapid fire game, ball out. But we have some bonus questions that I want to test y'all with. So I'm gonna give y'all 2 options and y'all let me know which one you're selecting. All right, bonus round time. Win a championship or break a personal world record.
Win a championship.
Why we winning a championship over the records now?
Records are always meant to be broken, and once you're a champion, regardless of what, you're cemented in history forever.
They can't take that
Can't take that away from
I
you.
like that
Yeah.
reason. All right, I'll take that.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Next, be the best player on a bad team or be an average player on a great team.
Average player,
player.
great team.
So you rather be the average player on the great team? Tell me why.
Firstly, for one, everybody likes winners,
Fair.
right? And being a part of a team, building that chemistry to build something and have an ultimate goal and achieving that is special as opposed to a selfish thinking.
That's fair, and you agree.
I mean, most of my career, I was an average player on a good team, so that's why I agree.
I'll take Oh, yeah, I find you putting yourself low, man.
I'm telling you, most of my career I was an average player on great teams. I played with the greats in Trinidad and Tobago. I was always an average player.
Hey, winners win.
Yeah,
We're taking that.
Yeah,
A win is a win is a win.
Yeah.
And finally, gentlemen, never miss a shot ever again or never get tired.
Never miss a shot.
Never get tired.
All right. Let me hear why we never missing a shot.
I mean,
first.
my superpower is shooting.
Okay, Steph.
So even when I'm tired, I'll hit the shot.
Yeah. You don't need the energy if you're never
Energy,
missing the shot
never,
again.
never miss the shot.
And if you get tired, you just take a little 5 minutes on the
Yeah.
bench and come back.
Easy like easy.
All right, and you will never get tired.
Simple, the fact because defense wins championships. He talking about offense, I talk about defense, right? Defense wins championships, and to play defense, you have to have a limit, an unlimited amount of energy, supply to stop shooters like him on the court now, because he's running around 1,000 screens, so you have to be able to keep up and tire him out, and like I said, defense wins championships.
All right, cool. Defense wins championships. Gentlemen, the good thing about this ball-out game is there's no wrong answers. So I appreciate the insight and I appreciate the opinions. We'll be right back on the playbook after this.
Moriba, the Freitas day in the life of a college athlete. At 6 o'clock is the first practice of the day. So I have to be up at 5:30, putting things in place to make sure I have not only things in place for practice, but for my full day of school and activities. So from practice is 6 to 8, I have class from 8 to 10. All classes, there is a mandatory time check where we have to be in class 5 minutes after class time, or we would have extra work to do in practice. We have practice from 1, so I have to be done with class, prep, and at practice for 1 o'clock practice. Practice is done at 1 to 4. I'm allowed to leave practice at 3:45 to get to class at 4 o'clock on time. At that point in time, I have to squeeze in lunch and take a shower, obviously, and be ready for class. Class is from 4 to 7. One would think after class being done at 7, that is the end of the day. No, it is not. We have something called individual practice, where they work on your individual skill. Wherever the skill in whatever sport is, they focus development on that particular skill for that particular athlete. After the day is done, we have to understand that we are student athlete first at all times, so we have homework that we must go and get done, revision. And everybody know I'm an island boy, so we like to socialize a little bit. So from about 11 to 12:30 maybe I socialize and get up ready to do it again the next day. And that's a typical day in the life of a student athlete.
Welcome back to the playbook, ladies and gents. We've been having a ball here, and as you can see, we just finished the ball out challenge. We got to know our guests a little bit better.
Steph Curry.
And now we are back in the conversation. Now, Kern, as a player, you would have captained the Trinidad and Tobago national team, and you would have also received an athletic scholarship at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Being a coach, can you guide us through what sports scholarship opportunities are available?
We have a lot of scholarships available. However, it is very tough right now, especially in the sport of basketball, because there's something now called the NIL, name, image, and likeness that is taking place in America right now. And it has taken over college sports. And now it's have something called the transfer window and the portal. Transfer
Scary
portal.
time.
It's a scary time.
Going from school to school.
Yeah, and now you could go anytime.
But like they're treating it like it's the NBA.
Like the pros.
Yeah, like if it's the pros now. So now we have players who are making more money than their coaches. If anybody wants a scholarship right now, I would tell you, first things first is to have good game film. Good game film at all times, no matter what you do, always record. Always have it, because you never know when you're going to have a really good game, a good meet, a good race, and coaches always want to see that. Yeah, they always want film. Film is the most important thing, but the athletic side, you must have film.
You're stressing on that film, boy. The film is very important. So, Moriba, you attained a scholarship to head out to the States from Trinidad and Tobago. When you're thinking about basketball scholarships, Trinidad and Tobago is not the first place that comes to mind. So that already in itself is an interesting story.
Yep.
Can you tell us anything interesting in your experience in attaining that scholarship?
Everybody think when you wake up in the morning and say, all right, cool, yeah, I want a scholarship, it'll just come now. Yeah. Nobody don't even know this part. I was turned down 4 times from getting a scholarship opportunity, because there's always coaches always call and say, yeah, we're interested in it, we like it, what your grades, what your film looking like. Always, them is the questions, and then they go take it. And some of them don't sell the dreams too. Some of them, that is the things we don't really educate our athletes in Trinidad about. Some of the coaches out there that sell the dreams and treat you like a product.
Yeah,
As
versus
simple
a
as
human
that.
being.
And not a human being. So they will tell you, so they say, Aaron, we like you. Next week, we will give you this money to organize and do your thing, but make sure and do all the paperwork. But when this week now, remember they like you. But in this week, they could like somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will be like, Kern, Tuesday they're calling Kern, I like you. They like Kern more than you know what that means for your scholarship? Because they could only pay a certain amount of players at a time. Them have a budget just like anything.
And if you tell me you're giving me a scholarship and you pull that next week, you're affecting my livelihood.
I see that happen. We see that happen real
I remember
life.
a coach wanted me, and but they had a bad season, so I signed up everything, registered everything, and the coach said I went and tell everybody in my neighborhood I got a scholarship. I am going away, and then the coach got fired.
Oh my.
So when he gets fired, all of his interest
It's out the door.
is out the door now.
Yep.
The new coach that comes in is coming now with his
New agenda.
new agenda, new team,
His
new
plans,
recruits,
his recruits.
everything.
Definitely.
You know, so we have to be mindful of that.
So, gentlemen, what are the different types of scholarships that are available to students? Tell me like I don't know at all. Like explain it to me in layman's terms.
Well, there is the athletic side and there's the academic side. On the athletic side, you could get a full scholarship. That's where they're going to cover everything.
Full ride.
Full ride. We call it full ride.
Yeah.
All right. So your education aspect of it, your schooling,
Board,
room
meals.
and board, meals.
Yeah, everything,
You
right
get
up.
a stipend, everything. All right. Then there's partial scholarships where they may just say you'll get uniforms and you will get gears.
You get your books.
You'll get your books, but you will
You
have
might
to
have to pay for
find money
housing.
for room and board. All right, partial scholarship. Then there's the walk-on aspect, whereby you're very talented, but they don't have any space on the team for you for either a full ride or a
partial.
The funding, yeah.
Yeah, and they say, come and play for the team because you already found money for your other things. All right, personally. So there's that. Then there's the academic side of it. Some persons, they get academic scholarships. All right, that's where your grades are really high in whatever field.
Yeah.
That's the only way to attain an academic scholarship. If your grades are really high. This has nothing to do with the sports side of it. All right, and all you have to do now is maintain a high grade point average or high GPA. All right, and plenty time is like 3.8, 3.9 out of 4.0. So, you know,
You had to be bright.
you have to be
bright.
You had to be real bright.
And then there's, again, in the sports side of it, there's different sports. So you could get a track and field scholarship, you could get a basketball scholarship, you could get a volleyball scholarship. In Trinidad, there's no argument. The most scholarships that we get from Trinidad and Tobago is track and field.
Oh, okay, I thought,
Track and field because
I thought it was football.
No. Football coming after. Track and field because remember we used to run all over the place.
Right.
Right, and we real fast. Right. So coaches come to the Caribbean
It's proven.
for parties. So right now track and field, if it is you know you can run fast, I will advise anybody you want to go and study and you could run real fast, not run against only your brother or your sister or your neighbor, but you know you're seeing some potential. Track and field.
Track.
Yeah, I if you're tall
Yeah.
and you're big and tall, I will advise you to get into basketball or volleyball. Plenty volleyball scholarships, basketball, especially for females. I will encourage females. If it is you have a father who is 6'6", mother who is 5'11", 6'1".
And you're looking like you're going to be tall.
You have potential and you're 12, 13 years, get into a sport now.
Moriba, could you give us a little bit more information or some step-by-step information on going pro turn into a professional?
As coach rightfully say, there is no manual say after you read this, you're going to be an elite pro player. Right? One of the things coach stress on whole day is being disciplined. One of the things I mentioned is logging your hours. It's as simple as that. It has no secret sauce, no recipe. You have to log your hours. I'm stressing on that. You must log your hours and you must be disciplined in your craft.
I think just to add to that too, if you really want to go pro, you want to make sure and get connected to persons who know how to get you to pro. So once you get an agent, you sign up with an agency. And
agents taking you from school.
Yeah, they're taking you from school.
Because as coach rightfully mentioned in terms of the NIL, that is changing the dynamics of how schools look at players and how players look at schools. So I was talking to a kid the other day, he's at a junior college level. Junior college is where I started, right? And that's where you get opportunities to go Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3, right? So the game changed. Normally when I did what I did, I had Division 1 schools coming to me offering full rides, as we rightfully say, to go for me to get to play at their school. But when the kids now get the opportunity to pick which school they're going, now the schools is a bit little standoffish because I don't want to invest money into you and then halfway in the season you let me know you ain't feeling the play again.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it get a little tricky now. So most of the players, as much as they're good right now, you have to have a kind of presence with your kind of energy, a support, a fan base in a sense.
No, for real.
Because the likeness part, where when I went to school, I didn't get a chance to experience the NIL, which
Yeah,
unfortunately,
you'd have made plenty of money.
I would have made real money out of it.
No, some of these college kids with their big followings on social media presence, they get in bigger contracts than some of the NBA players.
And the schools is not going and take a chance on you if you're not going to perform, if you're going to bring a negative energy. If half in the season, like, I gone. So now the schools is being very clear and being very patient on who they bring into their program to avoid being a cancer to their program.
Most definitely, most definitely. This has been a lot of insight. I think not just the students, but the parents as well will appreciate this kind of information because sometimes, I don't want to say this is hard information to find, but sometimes you're not able to really latch onto it and understand what are the steps that I and my children could take to get those scholarships. Thank you so much, Kern, George, and Moriba, the Freitas, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. Remember, scholarships in sports are not just a dream, they're accessible right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Take advantage of it.